Yeah, ayan. Ito yung pag-aaralan nyo na, diba, nung last week is nagbigay lang ako ng pwede nyong panoorin kasi nga hindi ako makapag-discuss. So, ito, babawi ako. Discuss ko tong, yung supposed to be lesson yung last week, which is all about fluid flows and pipes. So, uumpisahan na Bernoulli's energy theorem. So, dito sa Bernoulli's energy theorem, meron tayong tatlong pag-aaralan na naka-base dyan sa Bernoulli na yan. So, ito yon, head or energy, pumps, and turbines. So, tatlo yan. So, dito, magbibigay ako ng 5 example. Tuloy-tuloy na to. Hindi ko na puputol-putulin. Tuloy-tuloy na siyang 5 examples talaga. So, start tayo sa mga basic na mga kailangan nyong alamin. So, Bernoulli's energy theorem. So, Q is equal to AV. So, ito kailangan, kailangan yung formula to. Q is equal to AV, where Q is equal to the discharge. Pwede siyang cubic meter per second, pwede siyang newton per second, pwede siyang kilogram per second. Depende sa kung ano yung hinahanap. If the problem says discharge lang, ang kailangan mong kunin is yung meter cube per second. That is volume flow rate. So, kapag discharge lang yung sinabi, ito yung hinahanap mo. Volume flow rate. If ever, nagsabi na kailangan mong kunin is weight flow rate, ito yung kailangan mong kunin. Naka-Newton per second. So, i-multiply mo lang naman yung Q, which is this, yung cubic meter per second na nakuha mo, i-multiply mo lang siya sa gamma. Okay? Next is kilogram per second. Kapag ganito naman, dahil kilogram yan, meaning that kailangan mo lang siyang i-multiply sa, sa density. Multiply mo lang sa density para makuha mo ang mass flow rate. So, yan. So, next is A, which is the cross-sectional area of flow in square meters. And then, V is equal to the velocity of flow, which is in meter per second. Ayan. So, next is the 3 forms of head or energy. Ano nga ba itong head or energy na to? Huh? So, una is the V squared over 2G, which is the velocity head. Pag sinabi namang pressure over gamma, that is the pressure head. And then kapag Z naman, that is the elevation head. So, those are in meters of fluid flowing. So, naka-meters lahat yan. In meters siyang isosolve nyo. So, next, E is equal to the total head or energy. Pag sinabing total head or energy, pag-addin mo lang tong tatlong ito. Okay? So, E is equal to V squared plus over 2G plus P over gamma plus Z. So, yan. Okay? Excuse me. So, next, ayan. I-illustrate natin kung ano maging itsura niya. So, supposed to be there is a pipeline here. Tapos, meron kang lagay na tubo dyan. And then, ang ating flow ng water is paganyan. Ayan. So, dito yung datum natin. Meaning nitong datum na to is yung reference point mo. Kung saan ka mag-i-start, kung saan ka magbabase ng zero elevation. So, dito, makikita mo, naka-elevate tong ating pipe. So, kapag ngayon mo yung elevation yan, ayan, that will be your Z. And then, yung susunod dyan is kapag may pressure na nilagay, yan, P over gamma naman yun. At kung meron namang velocity head na nilagay, may velocity, ayan, P squared over 2G. Any naman ito, basta hindi naman to kailangang naka-arrange. So, yan. So, that will be all equal to E pag pinagsama-sama mo yan. Ganyan lang. So, next na tayo. Without head loss and with head loss na formula. So, pag without head loss, the Bernoulli's energy equation naman to, hindi ko na nasulat. So, ito yung equation natin. BE1 is equal to BE2. So, parang ano lang, no? Kapag walang head loss, ganito lang yung formula nyo. B1 squared over 2G plus P1 over gamma plus Z1 is equal to V2 squared over 2G plus P2 over gamma plus Z squared. So, yan. Tandaan nyo, dapat naka-meters. Lahat yan na metric units. Kung metric, kung SI. Ganun lang. So, ano pa ba? Kailangan yung alaman dito. So, yan, wala pa naman. So, next. Pag with head loss naman, ganito yan. Yan. Bakit siya nandito, si head loss, no? Kasi kapag sinabing head loss, meaning nun is bababa tayo. Kung alam kung kaya kong mag-pen dito. So, supposed to be dito yung yung head mo. Ito nga yung head. Diba? Yan yun. Yan yung head na na-compute natin. So, habang nagpo-flow yung water, merong mga instances na nababawasan yung head. Yung taas ng tubig. So, kapag sinabing bumababa, so ang mangyayari doon, so, di ba, this is BE, ang hirap namang maggamit ito. So, BE1 is equal to, ano yan? BE2. So, yung unang BE mo, ito yon. Ito yung energy niya. Kaso, nabawasan siya, kaya bababa siya, di ba? So, ito na yung magiging energy 2. Meaning, ito yung HL. Ito yung head loss na tinatawag. Okay? So, meaning, from BE1 na buo siya, magiging equal siya sa BE2 na nabawasan ng head loss. Para maging equal pa rin sila, di ba? So, BE1 ito yung BE1 to. Tapos ito yung Bernoulli'S Theorem, BE2. So, equal lang yan. Magiging equal siya. Diba? Dito siya. Nakuha nyo? Hello? Are you listening? Are you listening, guys? So, yan. Nakikinig ba kayo? Sagot kayo ng open mic kasi hindi ko nakikita yung Ayun. So, yan. Kung nagets nyo, okay na yun para sa akin. So, next na tayo. Ayan. Yan si head loss. HL. Okay? Next, Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q3K. That is for continuous flow. Pag sinabing continuous flow, kahit magkakaiba yung diameter nung ating tawag dito, nung ating pipes, kung magkakadugtong siya in a uniform direction, so meaning nun is diretso siyang ganyan. Ayan, diretso siyang ganyan, meaning niyan is iisa lang yung flow ng water. Meaning, yung discharge dito sa part na to is the same sa part na to at the same sa part na yan. Ganun. So, okay? Nakuha pa yun? Ay, wala. So, okay. Dahil dyan, next na tayo. Yan. S is for slope of the energy grade line. So, ito yung maging formula natin. S is equal to HL over L. Yan. Natandaan na nyo itong mga formula na to. Lahat talaga. Ito na lang ito. Itong Q is equal to AV. Ito, na may head loss. Tapos ito. Kailangan nyo to. So, kailangan nyo lahat yun. So, sa pump naman, punta tayo sa pumps. Kapag pumps, anong meaning ng pump, guys? Meron ba nakakaalam na meaning ng pumps? Sinabing pump. Okay. Wala. Saan usually ito ginagamit? Itong pumps and turbines. Saan kadalasan ito ginagamit, guys? So, sabihin ko lang, na kadalasan itong ginagamit pag magkakaiba yung elevation ng kailangan puntahan ng tubig. Okay? So, if ever you want to transport water from a lower elevation to a higher elevation, kailangan mo ng pumping system. If ever naman kailangan mo na mag-transport ng water or ng liquid from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, and then you want it to be faster than normal, you will use turbine. Okay? So, So, ganun lang. Ganun lang yung pagkakaiba nilang dalawa. So, pump, pag sa pump, HA yung gagamitin natin. So, bukod sa HL, may HA pa. So, it is equal to the head added by the pump. And then, okay, mali. Ito pala. So, yan, ganyan. So, from the lower elevation to a higher elevation, kailangan mo ng pumping system para i-akyat mo yung tubig. So, halos lahat, lahat talaga ng ating mga buildings, kahit sa mga may second floor na bahay, tapos merong mga CR sa taas, merong mga may mga lababo sa taas, mga ganyan. So, kailangan ng pumping system doon kasi mahihirapang umakyat ang tubig. Okay? Mga ganyan. So, pagdating naman sa ating turbine, ganito yung HE naman siya. HE, ang kanyang symbol. So, head extracted by the turbine. So, ganito naman siya, from higher elevation to somewhat lower than normal. Okay? Next, power. So, power. So, kapag ilalagay mo pala tong, hindi, mamaya na lang yun, kapag sa example. So, okay, next na lang tayo. Power. Pag sinabi namang power, ganito yung formula mo. Power is equal to Q gamma E. Whereas, P is power in watts. Q is discharge, which is in cubic meters per second. And then, gamma is equal to Newton per cubic meter. Newton siya ha, naka-Newton, hindi kilonewton, okay? So, meaning, dapat naka times 1,000 kayo. So, hindi 9.81 ang gagamitin nyo. Ang gagamitin nyo is 9810, okay? Next, ang E is naka-meter. So, E will be the head. Pero, paano mo makukuha tong E na to? Depende yan sa kung anong gagamitin mo. E will be HA if pump yung problem. E will be HE naman if turbine yung problem. So, merong pagkakaiba yan kasi si HA is nasa kaliwa, si H is nasa kanan. Okay? So, i-explain natin yan mamaya. So, ito yung mga formula para makuha ang ating power. So, power kapag in terms of HP ang hinahanap, kapag in terms of horsepower, ito is i-divide mo lang sa 746. Pag gusto mo namang makuha ang power in terms of kilowatts, ganyan. I-divide mo lang yung Q gamma E sa 1,000. Okay? Yan. And then lastly, the formula na kailangan natin is efficiency. The efficiency or the EFF is equal to output over input times 100. So, bibigyan lang tayo ng sample problems yan para mas maintindihan nyo. So, next na tayo. Ayan, sample number 1. Sample number 1 tayo. A liquid Sg is equal to 0.90 is flowing in a 200 mm diameter pipe at 12 meters per second. So, kung titignan nyo, given ang ating diameter, given ang ating velocity. So, ito ang hinanap natin, discharge in gallons per minute, and then discharge in megagallons per day, and the weight flux in kilonewtons per second. So, solve na natin agad, letter A. Q is equal to AV lang naman yung formula dito kasi puro lang naman discharge yung tinatanong. So, magkakaiba nga lang ng ating units yung hinahanap. So, dito, Q is equal to AV, kunin muna natin in terms of cubic meters per second. So, given na agad, dahil diameter ang binigay, meaning that is a circular pipe. So, meaning ang gamitin mo yung formula, pi over 4 d squared. So, pi over 4 times 200 millimeters, convert nyo sa meters, 0.2 meters, times 12 meters per second. So, ayan. So, that will be equal to 0.377 cubic meters per second. And then, dahil gallons per minute ang hinahanap natin, kailangan natin i-convert si seconds into minute, and then si cubic meters into gallons. So, 1 cubic meter is equal to 1,000 liters, and then 1 gallon is equal to 3.7885 liters. So, itong mga nakikita nyo yan, those are the conversion factors na nilagay ko. So, kung mapapansin nyo, cancel out mo lang yung mga common, cubic meters per second, yung seconds, at yung ating liters. Okay. And that will be your final answer. Compute nyo na. 0.377 times 60 times 1,000 divided by 3.78. So, 5,976.22 gallons per minute. That's your final answer in letter A. So, next is letter B, discharge in mega gallons per day. So, mega gallons per day siya. So, i-adapt mo lang yung sagot mo dito sa una, which is 5,976.22. Convert mo lang yan into mega gallons per day. So, yung minutes mo dyan, convert mo into day. So, 1,440 minutes is equal to 1 day. So, yan. Conversion factor din yan. So, yan. Cancel out minutes. And then, Q will be equal to 8,606 mega gallons per day. Yan. Final answer in letter B. And lastly, weight flux in kilonewton per second. So, ang ibang tawag doon sa ating discharge in kilonewton per second, it is also called weight flux. So, weight flux is equal to gamma Q. So, ano lang yan? Q is equal to AV. So, gamma AV. Yan. So, kaso nga lang, may given na palang Q. Ayan. So, gamma Q na lang talaga siya. Literal na gamma Q lang. 0.377. So, 0.9 dahil given na SG. 0.9 times 9.81 times 0.377. Compute nyo lang lahat yan. Calculate yan. So, makakakuha kayo ng final answer na 3.33 kilonewton per second. That is your final answer in letter C. So, proceed to, yan, a 250 millimeter diameter pipe, which is 2,750 meters long, supplies water at a velocity of 2.4 meters per second and a pressure of 80 kPa. So, letter A, calculate the total energy in meters of water. Letter B, calculate the slope of the energy grade line if the head loss is 20 times the velocity. Letter C, estimate the population that can be served assuming a per capita consumption of 150 liters per day. So, yan, proceed agad tayo sa letter A. Ang hinahanap is total energy. So, gagamitin natin yung total energy equation, which is V squared over 2G plus P over gamma plus Z. So, kung papansinin nyo dyan, ang given is diameter ng pipe, length, velocity, and pressure. So, titignan nyo, wala kayong makikitang elevation. So, dahil wala kayong makikitang elevation dyan, consider Z is equal to 0. Yan. Z is equal to 0. So, salpak mo lang lahat ng given. V is 2.4. 2 times G is 9.81. P is 80. And then gamma is 9.81 dahil water lang yan. Okay? So, yan. Yan. Nilagay ko na to. So, if elevation is not given, elevation head is 0. Okay? Then, if velocity is not given, velocity head is 0. If pressure is not given, pressure head is 0. But, for some cases, if ever given si Q, which is the discharge. So, automatic kasi meron kang given na diameter ng pipe. So, kung papansinin mo, makukuha mo ang velocity dito. So, ibig sabihin, pag nakuha mo yung velocity dyan, pwede mong isolve to. So, hindi mo pwedeng cancel out to. Hindi mo pwedeng hindi porket wala ka nakitang velocity sa problem, is ika-cancel mo na tong V squared over 2G na velocity head. Tignan mo pa rin if may given na Q. May given na discharge. Dahil kapag may given na discharge, meaning pwede mong isolve ang ating velocity head. Okay? Sana klaro yan sa ating lahat. So, yan. So, ganun din sa pressure if ever, kung kaya siyang isolve, kung kayang isolve ang pressure sa mga given sa ating problem, meron siyang pressure head. Okay? Yan lang yan. So, next. Ayan. Tamang lang tayo. Tamang simplify. E is equal to 8.45 meters. Next, letter B, calculate the slope of the energy grade line. So, energy grade line, ang ating formula lang naman dyan is S is equal to HL over L. Kaso, ang sinabi niya dyan, the energy grade line is if the head loss is 20 times the velocity head. So, ganito yung magiging formula niya. 20 times, ito yung 20 times. And then, this one is the velocity head. Velocity head, yung formula niya is v squared over 2g, diba? So, ito yun. Okay? So, yan. Compute nyo lang yan. Simplify. S is equal to 0.00214. Final answer. Lastly, letter C. Estimate the population that can be served assuming a per capita consumption of 150 liters per day. So, meron kang 150 liters per day. Ang given is population. Ang ating kailangan kunin is the total population. So, kailangan nating alamin ang discharge ng ating pipeline. Ang discharge ng ating pipeline is makukuha gamit ang formula na to. Q is equal to AV. So, meron kang excuse me. Meron kang area, makukuha mo yan kasi given ang diameter and then given ang velocity. So, makukuha mo si discharge in terms of cubic meters per second. Kaso nga lang, naka-liters per day ito, kaya i-liters per day din natin to. So, yan. So, ito, dating gawin, these are the conversion factors. And then, cancel out like units. So, cubic meters, seconds. So, natira is liters per day. So, 0.118 times 1,000 times 86,400. So, that will be equal to 10,195,200 liters per day. So, kung kukustuhin mo lang kunin ang population, i-divide mo lang yan dun sa 150 liters. So, 10, 195, 200 over 150. The answer is 67,968. Final answer. So, ganun lang. Ayan, next na. Example number 3. Ayan na natin yung buo. Ayan. So, the head loss from section 1 to section 2 in the pipe system shown is 2.1 meters and the head loss from section 2 to 3 is 4.9 meters. If the velocity of flow at 1 is 1.8 meters per second and the pressure is 180 kPa, letter A, find the discharge. Letter B, find the velocity at point 3. And letter C, find the pressure at point 3. So, ayan. So, makikita mo dyan, yan. Okay. Section 1, 2, and 3. Magkakaiba yung diameter. Kung titignan nyo, kung papansin nyo, magkakaiba yung elevation. So, ayan. Datum. So, ulitin ko lang. That is Z1, that is Z2, and that is Z3. Okay? So, proceed na tayo agad. Find the discharge. So, discharge will be equal to Q is equal to AB. So, gusto ko i-consider yung ating mga given sa diameter 1. Kasi meron namang binigay na velocity sa flow 1. So, i-consider nating diameter dyan is yung sa 1, which is 350. Okay? Para makuha natin ang Q1. So, Q1 will be equal to pi over 4 times 0.35 squared times 1.8. 1.8 is the velocity. Ito yun. Given siya. Okay? So, next. Yan. Q1 will be equal to 0.173. Find the discharge. So, kung papansinin nyo, ito na yung final answer. Bakit kaya? So, kung naaalala nyo yung sinabi ko sa ating doon sa pagbibigay ko ng mga formula, papansinin nyo yung sinabi ko doon, if the pipe is continuous, if the flow of the water is continuous, Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q3. So, meaning the total discharge of the pipeline is equal sa lahat. So, Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q3 is equal to Q Q total. So, yan. So, dahil dyan, ito is your final answer na agad sa letter A. Okay? Next is letter B. For continuous flow, ayan. Letter B. Find the velocity at point 3. Yan. Ano kaya yan? So, Q3, velocity lang naman ang hinahanap. So, pwede mong gamitin yung Q3 Q is equal to AV ulit. Kasi given ang ating diameter sa 3, sa point 3. Okay? Given yan. So, meron kang Q, which is equal lang dito. Meron kang diameter sa point 3. Ang hinahanap is velocity sa point 3. Okay? Yan. So, given naman na lahat yan, sasalpak mo lang yung mga given. Q3 is 0.173 pi over 4 times 0.25 ang ating diameter sa point 3. At ang hinahanap natin is V3. So, V3 is equal to 3.52 meters per second. So, yun. That's your final answer in letter B. So, next is letter C na tayo. Find the pressure. Ayun, may pressure ng given. So, meaning, ibig sabihin nito, automatic, gagamitin mo na yung Bernoulli's energy equation. Dahil gagamit ka ng Bernoulli's energy equation, ayan, letter C, B, E from point 1 to 3. So, I will be considering point 1 and point 3. Okay? So, wag kayong para hindi kayo malito. Okay? Ayan. Ito yung formula. So, V1 squared over 2G plus P1 over gamma plus Z1 is equal to V squared V squared 3 over 2G P3 over gamma plus Z3. And then, tandaan nyo, idadagdag nyo ang head loss from here to here. Okay? So, meaning dyan, meron kang head loss dyan. May binigay na head loss. So, kung ba lang binigay na head loss, edi okay lang. Pero dito, may binigay na head loss from section 1 to 2, 2.1. Merong binigay na head loss from section 2 to 3, 4.9. Kaya ito, head loss from 1 to 2, head loss from 2 to 3. Okay? Tsaka tatandaan nyo, sinasabi ko nga, plus HL siya sa kanan. Okay? Pag gusto nyo ilagay sa kaliwa, pwede naman, pero minus HL naman yun. Same lang. Pero para uniform tayo, plus HL tayo sa kanan lagi. Kanan ng equation, okay? So, yan. Salpak mo lahat ng mga given. Ayan. Yan. Salpak natin lahat ng given. V1 squared, 1.8 ang ating velocity flow sa 1. Okay? Next, over 2 times 9.81. Ang pressure natin sa ating point 1 is 180 over 9.81. Tubig lang yan, kaya over 9.81. Plus, ang ating Z1, is 7.2. Is equal to V3 squared, ang ating V3 squared, which is ito. Kakasolve lang natin. 3.52 squared over 2 times 9.81 plus P3, which is yung hinahanap natin, over 9.81 plus ang ating Z3. Ang ating Z3 is 3.4. And then, ang ating HL is 2.1. And ang ating HL2, 2 to 3 is 4.9. Okay? Nasusundan ba? Kung nasusundan nyo yan, calculator nyo na yan, i-calculate nyo. Ito yung magiging final answer. 144.03 kPa. That's your final answer in letter C. So, yon. So, ito is, recorded. So, ipopost ko siya mamaya siguro pag natapos ko siyang, tawag doon? Basta ma-record. Okay? Next. Number 4, may dalawa pa tayong example. Ito is pump system. And then yung example number 5 is turbine. So, almost same lang naman yung procedure, pero nagbigay na lang ako ng example per topic para, hindi naman unfair sa inyo. Baka mamaya magreklamo kayo. Okay. Next, the pump shown delivers 115 liters per second of oil. SG is equal to 0.84. To reservoir D at elevation 72. Ayan, ipakita ko pala yung tsura. Ayan. The energy loss in the suction line is 3.2 joules per newton and in the discharge line is 7.6 joules per newton. So, yung joules per newton is, ano lang din yan, diba? Joules per newton. Joules is equal to, diba? Newton, meter. Tama ba? Alam ko ganyan, over newton. Okay, that is meter. Ibig sabihin yung 3.2 energy loss na yan, That is your head loss energy. Yung head loss talaga. Okay? Head loss lang yan. O kayong maloko. Hindi kayo maloloko dyan. Head loss lang yan. Okay. Compute the total head added by the pump. How many kilowatts does the pump supply the system? And then letter C, if the pump is 85% efficient, how much power does it need? So, yan. So, dito, gumawa ako ng datum ko. Ang ginawa kong datum natin is yung sa BNC, which is may elevation na 5. Ginawa akong ano yan, 5. Dito yung datum niya. So, meaning, ang magiging, ano yan, ang magiging distance nitong, ito, mali itong, ano ko, itong dito. Dapat dito siya banda. So, ang ating, ang ating elevation from A to this one is 16. Okay? Minus mo lang, 21 minus 5, 16. And then, ang ating elevation sa D is 72 minus 5, which is 67. So, yun. Yun lang naman yung kailangan niyo alamin dyan. So, compute na tayo, total head. It is equal to, Q is equal to AB. Solve na natin to. Q is equal to AB, 0.115 is equal to pi over 4 times 0.25 squared times V. Para makuha mo yung V. Okay? That will be 2.3428. Yan. Kailangan mo yan kasi meron siyang velocity head. Kasi nga merong Q na binigay. Okay? Meron discharge na binigay sa problem. So, ayan. So, punta na tayo sa ating Bernoulli's equation. So, ito yung formula. Ayan. Kung papansinin nyo, meron tayong head loss sa suction line at meron tayong head loss sa ating discharge line. Okay? Ayan. Ayan. Mawawala to kasi wala namang pressure na binigay. That is equal to 0. So, next. Ayan. Tignan nyo, nilagay ko na. Kung papansinin nyo, dito, V1 squared, 2.3428 squared over 2 times 9.81 plus Z1, plus P1 over gamma is 0. Z1 is 16, ito yun. And HA yung hinahanap natin, that is pump. Kaya HA yung nakalagay. And then, tignan nyo lang, pansinin nyo, dahil pump siya, nandito siya sa kaliwa. HA is nasa kaliwa. Okay? Is equal to 2.3428 squared over 2 times 9.81, which is the same as this one. Kaya makakancel yan mamaya. And then, P2 over gamma is 0. Z2 is 67. Ito yun, 67. Plus the ating mga head losses from HL, head loss from A to B, which is 3.2. Ito. And then, sa discharge line na C to D, which is 7.6. Okay? Yan. So, compute nyo lang lahat yan. Makakancel to. Sabi ko nga, kasi same lang yung value na yan. So, HA will be equal to 61.8 meters. That is your answer in letter A. Ayan. Okay, next is letter B. Letter B, compute the power. Yan. KW is equal to Q gamma E over 1,000. E depends on kung ano yung given, kung pump system siya, HA yan. So, KW is equal to Q. Mayroon tayong Q, which is 0.11115. Meron tayong gamma na 9810 times DSG na 0.84. And multiply mo siya sa energy na 61.8 na nakuha mo na na-compute mo sa letter A. Over 1,000. Yan, final answer, 58.56. Ganun lang. And letter C, if the pump is 85% efficient, how much power does it need? Pag sinabing needed power, anong ibig sabihin nun? Output or input? Okay? Pag sinabing kailangan, ano yung kailangan niyang power? Ano meaning nun? Output or input? Input, guys. Input. Okay? Yan. Letter C. Efficiency formula. meron kang given na efficiency na 0.85. Ginawa ko ng 85 kasi naka 100 yon. Meron kang output na 58.56. At ang hinahanap mo is yung input power natin. So, yan. Salpak-salpak lang to. 68.89 kilowatts. So, that's your final answer in letter C. Lastly, guys. Last. Okay, example number 5. Yan. So, ipakita mo na natin lahat. Yan. Ito yung figure. So, basahin ko lang muna. The 600 mm diameter pipe shown conducts water from reservoir A to a pressure turbine which discharges through another 600 mm diameter pipe into the tail race at B. Okay? Ito yung B. So, yan lang natin dahil nakalimutan kong ilagay. B. Okay, dito yung B sa ating elevation 0. Kung nasan si elevation 0. Okay? So, now, na tayo. So, the loss of head from A to 1. From A to 1, ang loss of head natin is 5 times the velocity head. And then, the loss of head from 2 to B is 0.2 times the velocity head. If the discharge is 700 liters per second, compute the HP given up by the water turbine, and then compute the pressure head at 1, and lastly, compute the pressure head at 2. So, okay? So, umpisa natin sa letter A muna. So, letter A, compute the HP. So, before going to solve for HP, wala tayong nakikitang, ano ba? Head. Kailangan natin compute ang head. So, dahil turbine yan, ang kailangan natin i-compute is HE. Okay? So, before going to compute HE, kailangan munang kunin ang ating velocity. Kasi kakailangan na natin ng velocity head mamaya. So, solve muna natin yon using Q is equal to AV discharge formula. Okay? Q is 0.7. That is 700 liters. Kinonvert ko into cubic meters. Is equal to pi over 4. At dahil 600 mm diameter pipe yan. Yan. Ginawa akong meters ulit. 0.6 squared. And then, times the velocity, which is yung hinahanap natin. So, V will be equal to 2.4757 meters per second. Next is Bernoulli'S energy equation. Agad. So, that will be from A to B. A to B agad yung kukompute natin. So, BE, anto, BE from point A to BE from point B. Tsaka mo, i-add yung mga head loss. Head loss, tapos i-add dahil turbine siya, dito ka mag-add ng HE. Okay? Ayan. So, yan, pinahaba ko na yung formula para makikita lahat ng mga formula kailangan. So, VA squared over 2G plus PA over gamma plus ZA is equal to VB squared over 2G plus PB over gamma plus ZB plus HL from A to 1 plus HL from 2 to B and lastly plus HE yung kailangan nating hanapin. So, yan. So, sasalpak mo lang lahat yan. At dahil kung titignan nyo, ang ating, yan na lang natin. So, kung papansinin nyo, velocity from here to here. So, same lang yan. Kasi 0.6 meters pareho ang ating diameter. At kung titignan nyo, from rest to rest. So, okay, that is equal to 0. Makakancel yan. Unang makakancel is yung pressure head natin dahil wala namang pressure na given. And next one, dahil same value lang din yan. And then, from rest lang na din siya. So, makakancel lang din yan. Okay? So, yan. Kung titignan nyo, pressure head is 0 plus ZA, elevation at A is 60 is equal to, ito is na-cancel. And this one is 0, pressure head, B, 0, plus ZB is 0, dahil dito ang ating datum, papansin nyo, elevation 0. So, 0 yan. Plus HL A to 1. Kung titignan nyo, ang ating HL A to 1 is 5 times the velocity head. So, i-compute mo yun. So, 5 times the velocity head, 2.4757 squared over 2 times 9.81. And plus, HL2 to B, ang ating HL2 to B is 0.2 times the velocity head. So, V squared over 2G lang to. 2.4757 squared over 2 times 9.81. Plus HE. HE yung hinahanap. So, yan. Compute nyo lang yan. Lalabas ang sagot na 58.3755 meters. Next, ang hinahanap natin is power. So, kailangan natin yung formula ng power in terms of HP. HP will be equal to Q gamma E over 746. Meron kang Q, given yan, na 0.7. Meron kang given na gamma, dahil water lang yan, so 9810 lang gagamitin mo. Times TE, sinolve mo siya, turbine, HE is equal to 58.3755 over 746. Ayan, so compute mo lang yan, 537.4 HP yung lalabas. So that is your final answer in letter A. So next, proceed to letter B. Okay? Ayan. So energy equation between A and 1. Gagamitin mo yan kasi ang hinahanap natin is pressure. Okay? AE is equal to E1 plus HL A-1. So, ang hinahanap lang natin is energy equation between A and 1 ha. Dito, from here, hanggang dito lang. Okay? So, parang ikat mo yan para ka mag-section. Naalala nyo, sections. So, yan. X dyan. So, lagay nyo lang yun. PA squared over 2G plus PA over gamma plus ZA is equal to V1 squared over 2G plus P1 over gamma plus Z1 plus head loss lang from A to 1. Kasi A to 1 lang yung kinoconsider natin. Okay? So, input nyo lang lahat ng mga given dyan. So, dito, syempre, nanggaling siya dito, which is at rest. So, kailangan 0 yan. And then, walang given na pressure dito. So, that is 0. Plus 60. Kasi nagkaka-pressure lang talaga dito banda. Okay? So, plus 60 is equal to V1 squared. Kukompute natin yan kasi given na yan. So, V1 is 2.4757 over 2 times 9.81. Plus, ito yung hinahanap, P1 over gamma. Plus 4, ang ating Z1. Kasi ang kukompute lang natin is yung, ito, ayan, elevation, yan. Elevation 4. Elevation niya is 4 meters. And then, datum pa rin natin is dito. Okay? And then, plus 5 times 2.4757 over 9. Di ba ito yung 5 times the velocity head? Okay? Yan. Kukuha mo yung final answer yan. 54.13 meters. Ganun lang siya. And lastly, puntahan natin yung hinahanap na pressure head sa 2. Okay, energy equation between, ayan, nakalimutan kong palitan. This is 2 and B. Okay? This is 2 and B. Yan. E2 is equal to EB plus HL2 minus 2 to B. So, yan. Ayan mo ulit yung formula. Ganun lang. Paulit-ulit lang yung formula. So, V squared 2 over 2G plus P2 over gamma plus J2 is equal to VB squared plus over 2G plus PB over gamma plus ZB plus head loss sa 2 to B. Okay? Next, yan. Kung titignan nyo, meron tayong velocity dito. 2.4757 over 2 times 9.81. Plus, ito yung hinahanap, pressure head at point 2. Plus, Z2 is 4. Is equal to, kung papansin niyo wala kayong pressure dito, wala kayong velocity dito. Kasi ito yung final destination niya, di ba? Ito yung destination niya na huli. So, meaning, pagkalapag niya dyan is, wala na, at rest na siya. So, 0 ang ating velocity head, 0 ang ating pressure, 0 ang ating elevation, kasi dyan yung, datum natin, sa mismong, kung nasaan si B. And then, 0.2 times 24757 over 2 times 9.81. Ito naman yung ating head loss sa 2 to B. Okay? Next. Final answer, P 2 over gamma is equal to negative 4.25 meters. Final answer. So, ano lang siya, guys. So, ayun. Tapos na. Thank you. Yan na, gets nyo ba? Hello.